So I thought I'd show some of my plants where I am attempting to grow a portion of my pet's food in my ornamental garden, as I have a lot of fruit-eating animals. So I am about as obsessed with plants as I am exotic animals, and the garden is designed for a tropical look, although I also have some edible plants and fruits for the animals. Another benefit to growing your own food is that some of these fruits have less sugar than the domesticated fruits you'd buy in the grocery stores, so that's healthier for the animals. I am in USDA Zone 8, so relatively warm, but we still get cold winters. This garden is still in development, and there's a lot of weeds I need to get around to removing. They take over because I don't really use pest control. There's also some damage due to a recent storm in these clips. So this is one of my Fuyu persimmon trees, and so far this is the only one that has fruited. I have two other varieties of persimmon, and I bought them younger, unfortunately, so while they produce fruit, they fall off before they get this large. These fruits ripen in the late fall and winter, so they're good for producing fruit during that time, and they also look nice and ornamental. All the leaves will fall off and only the fruits will remain in the winter time. This is one of my dwarf ever-bearing mulberries, and these are must-haves. They grow well in colder climates, and the leaves and the berries are edible for pets. They are also very fast-growing. I can only find these plants for sale as really young plants, so that's why it's so small right now, although it got bigger this year. This is the dwarf version, so you can also get the normal-sized tree, which will get huge and drop a ton of berries. A very good tree for pets like iguanas that like to eat leaves as well as fruits. Here's one of my peach trees. I love peach trees for my climate, and I will be getting more regular sized peach trees like this. You'll see in a moment that I have dwarf peach trees, although those fruits came out pretty small this year. I think peach trees are also aesthetically pleasing, and they're pretty fast growing, at least in my climate. You'll get fruits faster than other fruit trees. This particular tree has really tasty fruit as well. So now these are banana plants called Musa velutina. And while these are considered to be ornamental, non-edible bananas, they are non-domesticated bananas like you'd find in the wild versus those domesticated bananas humans are used to eating. So this is more natural for pets to eat and healthier since it doesn't have a bunch of sugar. So these little bananas are good to have, and they are also nice to look at. Coming over here, this is another persimmon variety that I ordered online, and it's pretty small right now. It is an astringent variety of persimmon. This is one of my 3 loquat trees. I absolutely love loquats because, as you can see, they look really pretty, but they also produce fruit in the springtime that you can give to pets, so it's nice to add some variety to their diet. And so over here I have one of my bamboos called Alphonse something, and according to what I've read, all bamboo plants, that is, plants in the genus Bambusa, are edible. So I planted this because it's a nice ornamental variety. However, as bamboos are known for their extremely rapid growth and spreading behavior, this can also be a great addition to add variety for the animals to either eat or just tear apart because they are so prolific. I will have to cut parts of this. This is a clumping bamboo, so it's not as bad as other species that literally take over and can be very invasive. This little plant is actually a small native tree called a pawpaw, and these are really cool because they look nice, they are native to the US, and they actually produce a custard-like fruit, although unfortunately mine isn't growing well because when they're young they prefer more shade as they're understory plants, and this one is just too stressed by all the sun we get, so it hasn't grown much. So over here is a small edible garden I originally started for my iguana so she could come outside and forage. Right now it's overtaken with weeds, but there's collard greens, broccoli leaves, there's another dwarf ever-bearing mulberry, basil, lavender, rosemary, and a few more things. Up there I have some nasturtiums. Most of those dried up in the summer sun. They were also in the garden. Okay, so coming to another planting bed, I have one of my brown turkey figs. These are figs that are even hardy to zone 6, so they are a good fruiting plant option for colder climates. This variety is also pretty cold hardy, and this is the only one I have that's growing extremely well, and you can see there's some figs on it and they'll hopefully ripen. Figs are very high in calcium and fiber for a fruit, so they are good for some animals, although they are also high in sugar. Then I just have another loquat. This is obviously the biggest one, and it should fruit in the spring of next year. It should be fruiting. This is just another smaller persimmon that I got this summer, another variety. This is one of my larger pinto palms, and this was also planted this year. It actually produced some fruit this year that I was able to use. Not that much, but pretty good since it was just planted, so hopefully it will continue to do so. This is an interesting plant I just got called the Satsuma orange, and it's a cold hardy orange that's supposed to survive in my climate, so we'll see how this one does. I just planted it. Another pinto palm. This is my favorite one because it just looks so nice, and it's been in the ground for a few years. And behind it is a kumquat that has been doing amazingly well. I just randomly got it from Home Depot and it was on clearance. So far it has had no leaf damage in the winter and produces fruits that just stay on the branches for the entire winter. You can see here it's producing more fruit, and it does that every year. This is another brown turkey fig, but it isn't growing as quick as the other one. Here's a Moore Park apricot that hopefully will start growing better in the future. Right now the leaves are looking pretty ratty. This is its first summer since it's been planted. Next to that one is one of my 2 dwarf peaches. You can see it has fruits on it, although they are small and don't look too great, but I can still feed them to the animals. And actually, since they're so underdeveloped, perhaps they're better for the animals. Again, since they have less sugar. You'll see me feeding some to my Paca in a moment. Here's another dwarf peach loaded up with these little fruits that it has so many of them that they're starting to get weighted down. So here I'm just giving some to my Paca, and she's not a huge fan, but she does eat them eventually. So anyway, those are some of the fruits and plants that I'm growing. Highly recommended if you if you have the space, and it's pretty rewarding to just grow plants in general. And some of them are also good for humans to eat.